Welcome to the Jameela Adams Experience podcast. This is a place to be if you're a woman over 40 who wants to feel inspired, empowered, and heard. Jameela Adams, your host, will be talking about how to find joy and happiness in the face of life's challenges. So come and join the experience.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining this week's episode. I'm so glad that you're here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the podcast. I so greatly appreciate it. This week, we're going to be talking about adaptability and how it can lead to burnout. You'd be surprised, but just because you're adaptable and you can rise to the occasion and pretty much be challenged and handle everything does not mean that you are not susceptible to burnout. I've been there more times than I care to admit. And because I can master something, after a while, people are expecting you to be at that high level of performance and they just keep throwing stuff at you and you adapt and you change up and do what you can. But at the same time, you're sacrificing your mental health because you're thinking if I'm performing at such a high level, people will accept me or appreciate me. And that's not always the case. So adaptability genuinely is seen as a positive trait. It refers to the ability to adjust to new conditions, environments, and situations. However, if taken to the extreme, adaptability can lead to burnout. And here's how. Constant change. Highly adaptable individuals must constantly adjust to new circumstances. I learned this growing up that we moved around a lot. And no, I wasn't a military, Navy brat or anything like that. My mom just, liked a new place, wanted to go. It is what it is. But while it was exhilarating to go to a new spot, after a while, the frequency of change became overwhelming. It is what it is, The continuous need to adapt without any type of bounce back or feedback or any type of coping led to me being drained of my energy and not being happy. So another thing about adaptability leading to burnout is the pressure to perform. As I stated earlier, I can do what I need to do in order to get everything done, but at what cost? In environments prioritizing adaptability, there may be an impact, implicit or explicit pressure to always be flexible and responsive. You know how you get that text or call from a boss wanting you to jump to do something, even though it's either after hours or even before you're even on the workplace. It's this pressure to creates, a sense of urgency and a feeling of constant on. And your body can't handle that. The fight, flight, freeze is going haywire because you're always on and you don't know what to do. And most individuals rush to save the day. I was one of those people. And just to help or anything like that to get the job done. But after a while, it left me feeling stressed out and empty. And sometimes even really frustrated because I allowed myself to be put in those positions to where it just didn't feel good after a while. And the other thing too about adaptability is a lack of stability. Adaptable individuals may find themselves in situations where stability is scarce. Been there, done that. Constantly shifting roles, responsibilities, and expectations can undermine feelings of security and control, which is important in maintaining mental health and your well-being, period. Individuals may feel anxious and exhausted without a sense of stability, eventually leading to burnout. The other thing about adaptability that people don't like talking about, but you have boundary issues. Highly adaptable individuals may struggle to establish boundaries between work and personal life. And I've done that. I was always Captain Sable because, if my friends needed me or family needed me, I'm always rushing out the door to help them. But at the same time, what am I doing for myself to replenish myself if I'm always trying to solve everybody else's problems, which were not meant for me to solve? Same for you. These problems are not meant for you to solve. and you just can't step in with your cape blowing in the background. It doesn't work like that. So with that being said, you find yourself saying yes to things that you probably should have said no to. And eventually it will begin to affect your well-being. This tendency to overcommit can result in a negative self-care because you're neglecting yourself and ultimately experiencing burnout. Another thing too about adaptability, the downside of it is the difficulty in establishing a routine because you're throwing everything up in the air. There's no straightforward routine for you to do. While adaptability involves being able to adjust to new routines, too much change can prevent individuals from establishing healthy habits and routines. There has to be structure. There have to be boundaries because if not, you don't feel safe. You don't feel secure. And finally, the most important thing about adaptability, the dark side or the downside, I should say, and it leads to burnout, is emotional exhaustion. Constantly adapting to new situations can take its toll on one's emotional resilience. Dealing with uncertainty, ambiguity, God, I can't even speak, and unexpected changes can be draining, especially in those individuals who do not have adequate coping systems or support systems. Burnout is a side effect from emotional exhaustion and can result in a cumulative effect of ongoing adaptability demands. So if you find that you always find yourself running out, trying to change things or adapt to things that really aren't meant for you to adapt to, take a pause. I challenge you. This is my challenge to you. Take a pause and step back for a second and ask yourself, will this problem be solved with or without me? Why do I feel the need to overstep and come in when this person can take care of it themselves? And if you find that your workplace environment is causing this adaptability issue, sit down with your direct supervisor or HR and say, hey, look, I get it. People ask me to do these tasks or whatnot because you think I'm qualified, and I am qualified, but don't you think this task should be divided up evenly amongst others? Because if not, your star player will bench themselves of no fault or of their own because their body will get tired and they will give out. So here's the thing. Remind yourself that the problem is not that you can't solve it. Why are you the one feeling that you have to solve it? And that's the downside of adaptability. You think that you can come in and just change everything, or you can get everything moving the way it's supposed to be. And that's not always the case. So until next week, I want you to be inspired, be inspiring, be encouraged, be encouraging. But most of all, I want you to be you, and I'll chat with you next week.